Well, hello. Year 6 at Shavington Primary School in Cheshire. Thank you very much for reading my book. My name is Alistair Humphreys. I've written a few books for children and been on some big adventures, and you have now sent me some good questions which I hope might encourage you guys to go on adventures of your own. I'll get on with it and answer your questions after I have a quick sip of tea. Alex says, out of all the cities you visited, which one would you want to live in and why? Good question. San Francisco, Istanbul, Rio de Janeiro and Cape Town for the ocean and the beauty. New York and Tokyo for the busyness and the excitement. Yes, they'd be good cities. In your opinion, asks Layla, where can the best food be found? China, India, Japan, Vietnam. I'm quite Asia heavy on my foods, but I must also say the Middle East is very good. Syria, Lebanon, fantastic. Georgian food is really good. If you're a hefty meat eater, then the barbecues in Texas or in South Africa or Argentina are pretty spectacular as well. Oh, you're getting me hungry, all these questions. Or if you like to get a shark and bury it on a beach and leave it for quite a lot of months until it's rotten and it's quite soft like cheese, and then you want to eat that, if that's your idea of delicious food, then you can't go wrong with Iceland, which is a country I love, but I do question their bury a shark on a beach cooking technique. Layla says, how old were you when you started travelling? When I finished school, so after year 13, when I was 18, I went and spent a year in South Africa, and I taught in a little village school in the middle of nowhere, and that was my first massive adventure, and it got me dreaming of wanting to go see lots of places in the world. Emma says, in your opinion, what country has the best culture? Wow, no one has asked me that before. That is, of course, an impossible question, which I suspect you know, but I will give you an answer. Which country has the best culture? Wow. I love the kindness and hospitality and welcoming of the Muslim world. I know that's not a culture, but generalising. So through the Middle East and as far south as Sudan was incredibly kind. Japan, I love the culture in Japan, that it's so, in a way, strict, but there's culture about every single detail of life, and I really like that. I love the relaxed culture of California or Alaska, and I like the sort of gentle pace of life in Spain. What a question. I should write a book about this. Very good question, Emma. Much easier question from Will. Do you like football? Yes! I support Leeds United and I love all sports. I love rugby, cricket, cycling, watching all of these on TV, the Olympics. I love it. I love watching high-level sport. And I used to like playing it as well. I haven't played much sport for ages, but I love it. Jacob says, from your Great Adventurers book, who's your favourite explorer and why? I'd probably have to choose Ranulph Fiennes, the Polar Explorer, simply because reading his books were the first ones that I read that made me want to become an adventurer, so I feel thankful to him for that. Jacob says, what was your funniest adventure and why? Wow, that's a great question. Well, I decided to try and play my violin walking through Spain, even though I really cannot play the violin well at all. I really can't. And so playing, though, in the street, busking, that was how I earned money to get my next meal. So that was often very funny, to stand there going and looking at people's faces. They're just thinking, who is this crazy guy come to our town and playing badly? That was a great trip. Actually, if you want to see how bad I am, look on YouTube, type in My Midsummer Morning, and you can watch the film of me playing very badly. Ava says, what's your favourite book you've written? Well, the one you've read, the Great Adventurers book, it's a big illustrated colour book. I'm proud of that because that's the only book I've written that's won a prize, so I was proud of that, a travel writing prize. I wrote a book called Micro Adventures, which has probably been the most useful one for making people actually go on adventures of their own. And then I guess the book I wrote about cycling around the world, which is my first book, I'm proud of that, mostly because it was my first book. I think a lot of people are proud of their first book. Layla N. Look, you got a lot of Laylas. What is your favourite place to be when you're cycling? Oh, cycling. I like to be cycling somewhere far away from traffic and towns. When I'm in the wild, I've got all my camping gear, I've got my food, there's a nice river nearby so I can have a swim and get some water. And somewhere like southern Chile in Patagonia, that is perfect cycling. Finn says, what adventure did you find the most challenging and why? Maybe rowing across the Atlantic Ocean, because I was seasick for the non-stop for 10 days, and then you row for 2 hours, rest for 2 hours, row for 2 hours, rest for 2 hours, row for 2 hours, rest for 2 hours, row for 2 hours, rest for 2 hours. Non-stop for 45 days, which is exhausting and boring and frightening all at the same time. Yeah, I found that one pretty hard. But it was also fun. There's also, you want adventures to be hard. You don't want to, in life, just to be doing stuff that's easy. You need to try and do things that is hard and challenging and a bit scary. And I hope that you guys might agree with that. You're moving on to senior school in September, and that is a big step up. It's exciting, but I can see that it might well be a bit scary as well. But try and embrace it. Try and enjoy the adventure of it, and also in terms of adventure, try and find some adventures close to where you live. Try and find some micro adventures and make the most of this summer. Thanks very much for your questions, everyone, and good luck.